Go green, go white. Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be going over the tips for being a dungeon master that I honestly hate. Well, hate is a really strong word. Let's say dislike. A lot of times these pieces of advice will be given to new game masters, and then older game masters who thought that they kind of got something out of this advice will pass it on to new game masters and all that stuff. So starting off with number one, don't over prepare. What does this really mean? Now listen, take this advice from someone who's been a game master for 90% of their D&D career. There's such a thing as over planning. However, once you do it once, you're going to learn that lesson really quickly and then just kind of figure out your own way of prepping from there. I have gone multiple different ways of prepping throughout the years, and I've jumped from one style to another style. For example, this is how I currently plan. Recap of last session, bullet points, combat information if I really need it. However, if you were to ask me how I prepared 5 months ago, it would have looked something like this. Yeah. Number two, this one really aggravates me, and it's using average damage on enemies. And what I mean by this, like, let's say on the goblin stat block, it says that you have a sword that does a d6 worth of damage. Instead of rolling this, you just do 3 points of damage plus their modifier. I don't really like this. It makes your goblin feel ununique, and they become very predictable if you keep on doing it this way. I have found that whenever I did use average damage in the past, I have had players who said, oh, well, these people are only going to do 4 or 5 damage to us if we go up against them. We can take them easily. It makes it so combat doesn't really feel like it has much threatening to it or much stakes. Number three, base your campaign around your players' ideals and characters. No, just straight up don't do this. I've always been part of the Dungeon Master camp where I will typically come up with a campaign idea first, kind of flesh it out, and then have players come and play in my games. And so, with a caveat, unless I'm running a pre-written module. So, there will be times where I will, like, lore dump on players, and they'll be like, okay, within this specific city, can you change this church to worship, Tiamat instead of the Raven Queen? I'll be like, no, I've been working on this campaign setting for years now. If you're not happy with it, then unfortunately you can't be in my campaign. Now, yes, I'm still open to changing things. I'm not a dictator of my world who has never opened and interpreted to change. But if you want me to change so much about my homebrew setting to the point where it's not even the original setting at this point, I'm probably not going to have a good time playing with you. Now, yes, to this point, what the heck was that? But yes, to this, you should plan around your players somewhat in the campaign. Let's say your paladin was an Oathbreaker who has been running away from their cause for multiple years now. Maybe that cause can come back as an enemy faction. I'm fine with that. But when it gets to the point where the only focus of the campaign is exploring your characters' backstories, that's when I think it gets a little bit too much. Number four, reading the entire module before you run the campaign. No, this is unnecessary, especially in the age of the internet where you can look up a campaign guide. Like, for example, I've already brought up Curse of Strahd. There's a full subreddit and a full, like, many YouTubers have covered the entire module. There are full campaign guides out there. You basically don't need to own a book to run a module anymore. And yes, before I ran Curse of Strahd, which I had my first session today, it went really well. But when I ran Curse of Strahd today, I kind of realized, oh, not a lot of this stuff is useful. I only really need to read the first and second chapter. So yeah, those were just my thoughts. If you have any other thoughts, you can put them in the comment section below. Yeah, thank you. Goodbye. Also, YouTube, do not freak out. This is an incense. My brother got this at the local game shop, and it's supposed to smell like Blue Dragon. It kind of just smells like smoke. Which, now that I actually think about it, what is a Blue Dragon supposed to smell like? I'm assuming it's supposed to be like berry or like blueberry, blue raspberry, something like that, but I'm kind of getting like floral vibes. I don't really know.